So I'm here with Virginia Schmidt, Virgie, V.
That's me.
I am all. And at her beautiful cabin here in Shell. And I just want to ask you, I think mostly about A Course in Miracles and completing the text, and like what was it that attracted you to the Course in Miracles and brought you back to the Course in Miracles, and what kind of changes have happened along this Course in Miracles journey?
Yes. So, A Course in Miracles has saved and expanded my life a couple times. And when I came back to it earlier this spring, I had just come to this point of psychoanalyzing the shit out of my life, looking for signs, like, you know, essentially this great escape of like, how do I get away from all of these bad feelings and all of these things that are inhibiting me from being myself or feeling whole and loving? How do I get away from all this? How do I solve it? How do I figure it out? And it all finally led me back to the Course, of which the lesson is everything in our lives is just a reflection of ourselves. And love is the only answer and all that there is. And miracles are the natural state of things when we stop trying to escape what is. And I think right now, for me, a big lesson has been understanding the difference between real love with a capital L, which is something that we can only be at atonement with and feel inside ourselves, and doing things that are superficially loving on the outside. Because sometimes love looks like saying no, and sometimes love looks like telling people what their egos don't want to hear. And so much of me has tried to hide myself to please other people's egos, and all of that superficial, loving, people-pleasing stuff was really coming from a place of fear. Fear that others could hurt me if I showed my truth and stood up and said what I lovingly knew to be true. And you know, what the Course teaches is that nothing outside of us can hurt us. We cannot be hurt in the truth of what we are, because it doesn't matter what seems to happen to these bodies. We are all one love, and nothing can hurt that. And I think the biggest lesson that I'm coming to is living in that and holding that space of love and speaking from a place of capital T truth, and letting all the kind of shit go on around that, and just staying in that place of love and knowing that it's all going to be okay, because I don't have anything to fear. And when I'm in a place of real love and can hold that peace and knowing and at one-ment with God inside myself, then I can really maybe say the things that people need to hear, their egos don't want to hear, and speak my truth and hold all of it without being afraid that any of it's going to hurt me. Because in the end, the only way that I can really be loving to other people is to show them that no matter what they do or say, it's not going to hurt me, because love cannot be hurt.
So when you say this shit going on all around us, and how you feel safe through it all, relying on the knowing of that it's all love. Couldn't we just realize that the shit is just how we're perceiving something that is actually showing us where we're out of balance, or you know, it's not always a bad thing, you know. The shit shows the shit show.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And that, and honestly, I also have grace and compassion for my own journey, because I do believe that when we reach total enlightenment, right, like Jesus did, like Mother Teresa, like, you know, Buddha, like Gandhi, when we are in that kind of place, I believe that we become a channel for just healing and miracles to happen. And so when there is shit and the shit show and the shit storm going on around, it's just showing me really where I'm still holding on to fear. And if I can just continue to practice being there in love and to keep surrendering to faith, it's going to show that it's all for the greater good and none of it was really shit, right?
It is the miracle.
It is the miracle. Exactly. I that makes me think of a YouTube video I made, The Problem is the Solution.
Exactly. I was thinking the same
video.
Yeah.
Because
the shit show is showing you.
The shit show is the salvation.
Yeah.
Like,
the problem is the solution.
Yeah. And when I'm not willing to let stuff seem to be a shit show or whatever go on, that's just still fear that I'm holding on to, that I need. And that's my ego, right? Like that I need to be in control, that I know what's best. And I don't know. My ego does not know what's best. The part of me that is one with all things knows that there is a loving solution trying to come through in every single moment. And really, I mean, a big part of it, right, is just get out of the way.
Yeah.
Get out of the way. And let love flow through. And I think that in this world, in this dream, because life is truly but a dream, and A Course in Miracles talks about that a lot, it's just all that A Course in Miracles is helping us do, as long as we're still on earth, is to take the nightmare and turn it into a good dream. And that goes with saying, like, as within, so without. The more that I am able to stay and cultivate the truth of who I am, which is love within, the more that around me, everything that seemed to be a nightmare is shown to be a beautiful dream. And that's what I really want to share with people. And we can't run away from who we really are, which is love. And we can't run away. Like, there are no problems to solve. They've all already been solved for us. And anything that we think is wrong with someone else is just a wrong perception in ourselves.
I think that's, you know, the holding up the mirror.
Yes.
Of something that we see wrong in somebody else is right there showing us where our weakness is.
Yes.
And
where we're still holding on to fear, really, because that's it. It's just fear or love, you know, or like Michael Singer would say, your heart is closed or it's open. And Rumi talks about it too, you know, we have to be willing to go through the fear, because all that's there is love. But as long as we think that there's something we have to close to or protect ourselves against or fix or solve, we're keeping ourselves from seeing that it's just an illusion and love is all that's there. You know, I was trying to figure out and run away from and blame and project and block myself from all of these things that seemed to be outside of me, when really it's all that I was ever and continue to, because I'm a long way from being enlightened still, although it could happen in any holy instant. all that I'm resisting is the love that I am.
I want to talk about the holy instant.
Mm.
Isn't every instance, every moment a holy instant?
Yes. And that's what A Course in Miracles talks a lot about as well, because, we say, oh, well, this is going to take a lot of time. And that can be part of the process, and that's okay. I mean, again, accepting all that is. And it's just not true, because total at-one-ment, total healing, total enlightenment, total existence as sheer love is available in every single moment, because that's reality. Like, reality doesn't go away. And so every moment is truly a chance to come back to the realization that we don't have to wait to be one with God and to feel nothing but love and healing, because it's being offered to us in every moment. And the way I understand it, the holy instant, experiencing the holy instant is that, experiencing that everything that I've been pushing away or thought that I had to work for or wait for is right here. And we can keep forgetting, and it doesn't have to take any time except now to remember.
And I love that. How do you come into the present moment? How do you
surrender? I mean, and the end of the text in A Course in Miracles really talks about that, like being willing to be wrong, right? Because thank God that I'm wrong. Like, basically, A Course in Miracles says, if you're ever feeling shitty, you've just chosen wrongly. So I can just say, there must be another way of looking. I have chosen wrongly. I have that power to realize that. Nothing out here has power over me. If I'm feeling this way, I've chosen wrongly. Can you show me another way to look at this? And then I usually experience a moment of clarity. It's like everything else falls away. And there's a feeling of peace that's there beneath all of that. And oftentimes, and sometimes it's just that being, a lot of times the holy instant for me in that moment will reveal something that seems totally unrelated to whatever I was worried about, but is like a very clear, like, this is the next step. I mean, and for me, a lot of times it's been like to go see you, or to go see my horse, or to go down to the creek, like to do something that seems completely unrelated to whatever I was worried about. And yet the only thing that helps with anything, whatever the problem seems to be, is feeling peace within ourselves.
Nice. So,
and then we find that everything solves itself because it was never a problem, So the holy instant is when whatever guidance we can open to receive that allows us to feel peace in that moment, and then we can really help.
How long did it take you to read
A Course in Miracles?
The full text?
It took me April, May, June, July. So 5 months.
And how did you have like a morning regimen that I'm going to spend this amount of time reading the text, or did you?
No, it became a friend to me. I didn't have a regimen or anything like that. I have, I'm on lesson 142 in the workbook. So, but there have been times where I didn't do the lessons for 10 days here, or did one lesson 3 days in a row, or whatever. For me, it became a comfort and a solace. Like, it felt like somewhere that I could go to that would always show me clarity. So for me, honestly, the process would look like I would have all this clarity from it, and then I would go and be like, okay, I get it now. I'm gonna go live this. And then I would get back in a mess and I would go back to it. And it, I'm a huge reader. I love to read. I'm usually reading many books at once. For the past 5 months, though, I haven't been interested in like fiction or other stories. I just want the core. I want the core of the truth. And A Course in Miracles has just been that comfort and that rock to me that I've just come back to, that has helped me through everything. So, I mean, it was really just like my sustenance and the place that I wanted to keep coming back to. So sometimes it's very dense,
It's a hard book to read on your own.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you just always have such a great way of communicating? I've always called you my great interpreter, because you can interpret it to me. Like at one time I was struggling with the last line of the introduction, and you said, basically what it's saying is, it is what it is, and herein lies the peace of God. And in the book, it's like the introduction, just 10,000 different ways, so that you get it. And I had another question for you about, do you feel like when you go to A Course in Miracles group, you have a different way of interpreting it, or do you just come to this interpretation on your own? Which is easier for you, the group or on your own?
I mean, for me, I really like to take things in on my own. The group is important to me, not even so much in the understanding of the text, because a lot of times for me, I think that with my tendency to want to connect with others, sometimes I kind of need to be by myself to like really bring something in the way that it's going to be real for me. What the group really helps me with is the sense that I'm not doing this alone.
Nice.
Because when you're living this truth where you realize I'm responsible for everything that happens around me, my whole outer world is a reflection of my inner world. There's no one to blame or run away from except my own perception. That can sometimes feel really hard when you're out there in the dream, the real world, and everyone's just blaming and projecting and blaming and projecting. And so it feels so good and has been such an important part of my growth and relationship with the Course to come together with other people who are living it, because then I just feel supported in that. Like,
I actually have a hard time reading the book on my own, and even after I go to the meeting, I want to come home and read some of it and share it. And it just doesn't even sound the same of what we just read together a couple hours before that. And I feel like for me, I love the group. Everybody can bounce their ideas of what they had as an experience just like this. And for me, I love the group. And if anyone is struggling with reading the Course in Miracles on their own, I suggest finding a group to get you comfortable with it, to get to the point, as Virginia is, it's such a comfort.
Yes.
And you can relate to it much easier.
And groups are everywhere.
Right.
I mean, they're everywhere. So, I have friends back in Tennessee that have found a group there, and this group that we go to here has been so important. I know that, they're everywhere if people just look for them. And I do think, and maybe it's part and parcel really of the truth of A Course in Miracles, because the whole book is essentially about finding enlightenment through relationship. It's just to show us that everything that's happening in relationships is just a reflection of ourselves,
One of the key words that Big Mike from our group talked about the first time I had
Love you, Mike. Love you.
Love Mike, love Connie, love Karen, love Margie, love everybody. But the word that he said was that the book also teaches forgiveness.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
how did you interpret forgiveness or anything in the book that was monumental to you about forgiveness? Because I think that it's such a huge thing to come back to the love, and the forgiveness.
Yeah.
Tell me anything that you have taken away about forgiveness from the book.
Yeah. I mean, the first thing that comes to mind to me to say about it right now is just the word, right? It's forgiveness. Hello, Eddie Opal.
That's the first time I touched her.
And, love doesn't seek to get anything. It only seeks to give. And so, and it's a huge, huge part of A Course in Miracles that to give is to receive. And, coming back to, again and again, I will say, when I can get clear, right, when I can be conscious and present enough to enter the holy instant, like, please help me show what I have to give here. Please help me to make this relationship holy. Because to me, what the Course is saying, that forgiveness is synonymous with love, is synonymous with truth. Forgiveness isn't about, oh, I saw this thing that this person did wrong and now I'm going to, magnanimously pardon them for it. Forgiveness is to see each other for the truth of who we are, which is love eternal. All of these bad things that anyone has ever seemed to do never really happened. That's just a bad dream and wrong perception. So true forgiveness is to give to each other the experience and sight of each other as we really are, which is innocent, everlasting love.
Nice.
It has nothing to do with what anyone has done or hasn't done. It's to give to each other our truth, which is pure innocence.
I love that so much.
Yeah.
The Course in Miracles, there's a book called Quantum Forgiveness. I don't know if it's by the Course in Miracles, but it's rooted in the Course in Miracles, and it's Quantum Forgiveness is actually a dialogue about several movies, and one movie that I've been trying so hard to get you to watch, Solaris.
We just have to watch it together.
Yeah, we always say that.
We're going to, though. I don't have a TV.
Okay, so in Solaris, the last line is, all is forgiven.
Mm-hmm.
And I've changed the words from Ho'oponopono to thank you, I love you, please forgive me, I'm sorry, or I'm not quite sure. I've changed it to thank you, I love you, all is forgiven.
I love that.
And
I love that.
It's all is forgiven. We're all innocent. We're all particles of this cosmos. We're all just little pieces down here trying to remember who we really are.
Yes.
And in the book, it was channeled by Jesus Christ, or through Jesus Christ through Helen.
Right.
And a thing that I really love in our group meeting is that we remind each other who wrote this book. Jesus Christ. And he's trying to remind you who you are.
Yes.
Which is who?
Jesus Christ. Because I think about that too. The whole point is that Christ is the child of God. And there's only one child of God. And we are all that. So, that's another way to say forgiveness, right? Is to give people their due, their truth. Due kind of has not the right energy. To give people their truth, that they are Christ. They are a child of God. And it's all one child. We're all just pieces of that. And that's all that Jesus was ever trying to tell us. Like, you are me. Jesus was just fully conscious of that.
Oh, consciousness.
Nothing separate. There's nothing separate between us and Christ. And when we really realize Christ in ourselves, we can't help but, I mean, to realize Christ in ourselves is to acknowledge Christ in everyone and everything, because there's only one, as A Course in Miracles says, son or child of God, and it's Christ, and we are all that.
I love it. I love it. Anything else you want to add?
You know, there's nothing that we need to do. There's nothing that we need to figure out on our own. If we just keep letting go and letting love, we are all perfectly orchestrated as part of this plan that is unstoppable, that leads us back to the memory and reawakening of who we've always been. Nothing has ever changed. Like, it's all good right now. And as it was in the beginning,
in this holy instant,
is now and never shall be. And like you said, it's already forgiven. That's it. There's not really anything that we need to do besides just feel that and know that. And sure, from that place, you know, we get signs and reminders of who to talk to, where to go, where we can most be helped or find that peace or help others. It's all like the greatest thing that we can do for humanity is to find whatever place and peace that we can to know that in truth, humanity and all things are already healed.
A line I love from the book is, I need do nothing.
Yes, I need do nothing. And what is the first lines in the book that it basically says, like, if you get these two lines, you don't have to read anything else. It's only love is real. I think it's
nothing,
and nothing real can be threatened.
Right.
And that's it. The reality of who we are, love, and capital L love, God, Christ, truth, all the same, can never be threatened. And all of the shit show stuff, all of the nightmarish stuff that seems to happen, all of that only comes from a place where we think that we have to protect and control things because we think that whatever, you know, our ego, essentially, whatever we've tried to make ourselves to be, can be threatened. But the truth of who we are, that which is real, us as Christ, us as love, it can never be threatened. So there's nothing.
We're not separate.
No.
That's another big part of the book, is you're not separate.
No.
You think you are.
Exactly.
That's when the shit show starts.
Yeah, that's when the shit show starts. I mean, you know, and it's not, A Course in Miracles is not the way for everyone. I think, actually, yeah, and as the final thing to say, maybe, is just finding a group. It doesn't matter if you end up reading the whole text or not. Like, that's just something that this makeup of the character I am in this life, like, really, really appeals to me. It can be a path that shows you your people and support on the path, though. It doesn't matter if you read all of A Course in Miracles, but sure, go look up if there's a Course in Miracles group near you, because it's going to connect you to people who are also living this path. And whether you end up doing it from reading A Course in Miracles or Letting Go by Dr. David Hawkins, or through ecstatic dance or Reiki or relationships with animals or the land, or like whatever that path to remembering that you are one with all things and are perfectly whole and protected, whatever it is, it helps to find others who are seeking to live from that place, and to remember that all of the power, all of the love and peace that you're looking for, it's already there inside of you.
Oh, all the greats tell us that. Everything you're looking for is right inside of you.
Yeah, and that's it. That's it. And
That's it.
that's it. That's all. It's all right here, right now. You know, you already have everything that you need because you are one with all that is.
Love it. That is a good way to end this.
Thank you.
I love you.
I love you.
So blessed.
And come visit us.
Yes. Namaste.